Imagine two equally talented individuals aiming for the same impossible dream. Years later, only one remains, resilient, unstoppable, triumphant. Was the winner luckier? Smarter? Not necessarily. They had something even more powerful: grit. This is the secret ingredient that separates those who simply show potential from those who fulfill it. So buckle up, because this video is your ultimate guide to nurturing grit, based on science, personal stories, and the compelling wisdom of Angela Duckworth. If you're ready to change not just your mindset but your destiny, let's get started. Preface: the birth of a revolutionary idea. The roots of Angela Duckworth's fascination with grit began with a single question: why do some people succeed while others, sometimes even the most talented, fall short? As a math teacher and later a renowned psychologist, she saw firsthand that effort, not just innate ability, was a better predictor of success. Her journey through teaching, research, and interviews with high achievers cemented one critical understanding: talent counts, but effort counts twice. This realization became the foundation for the book. Chapter 1: Showing Up. Duckworth sets the stage with a poignant truth: simply showing up is underrated. She uses rigorous data from places like West Point's Beast Barracks and the National Spelling Bee to illustrate how those who stick it out, not just those with the highest scores or special gifts, come out on top. Persistence in the face of adversity, she argues, is the first mark of true potential. Chapter 2: Distracted by Talent. Society is obsessed with raw talent. Athletic scouts, corporate recruiters, even educators tend to focus on prodigies and naturals. Duckworth calls out this bias and shows, through research, how it blinds us to the much more subtle, yet ultimately more decisive, factor: perseverance. She introduces the naturalness bias, our preference for success stories about natural-born geniuses, when in reality, hard work and resilience often trump innate skill in the long run. Chapter 3: Effort Counts Twice. This chapter introduces Duckworth's powerful equation: talent times effort is equal to skill, skill times effort is equal to achievement. In other words, effort doesn't just build skill, it transforms skill into accomplishment. She shares real-life examples: cadets, artists, CEOs, who reach the top not through shortcuts, but through relentless practice and the refusal to give up. Chapter 4: How Gritty Are You? Duckworth unveils her famous grit scale, a tool anyone can use to measure their own passion and perseverance. Grit isn't about sprinting. It's about running a marathon that can last years, perhaps even decades. Passion means pursuing a single ultimate goal with unwavering loyalty, while perseverance means enduring setbacks, failures, and boredom without quitting. Chapter 5: Grit Grows. Can grit be developed, or is it a fixed trait? Duckworth answers emphatically that grit grows. Life experiences, deliberate challenges, supportive mentors, and even failure can teach us to become grittier. Not only that, our grit score can change over time. The brain's neuroplasticity supports this. You can literally rewire your mind to endure more, bounce back quicker, and pursue goals with greater focus. Chapter 6: Interest, the Genesis of Passion. Duckworth opens this chapter by highlighting that deep interest is at the foundation of grit. Contrary to the advice, "follow your passion," she reveals through both data and interviews that passion is rarely discovered overnight. It grows slowly from sustained engagement and curiosity. Through the personal stories of artists, scientists, and leaders, Duckworth shows that gritty people nurture and refine their interests over years, often facing periods of boredom or frustration but coming back because they are deeply curious about their field. This chapter emphasizes the importance of exploration in childhood and adolescence. Exposure to a wide range of experiences is critical. Parents, teachers, and mentors can help foster curiosity. rather than pushing a single talent too early. The lesson: true passion is cultivated, not found. Chapter 7: Practiced from interest to mastery. Having ignited an interest, the genuinely gritty turn that spark into skill through deliberate practice. Duckworth draws on the research of Anders Ericsson, best known for the 10,000-hour rule, but stresses that simply repeating an activity isn't enough. Deliberate practice means setting stretch goals, focusing on weaknesses, asking for feedback, and pushing just beyond your comfort zone over and over again. In this chapter, Duckworth illustrates how world-class performers, from athletes to musicians, relentlessly refine their craft in almost monastic routines. She acknowledges the grind. It's effortful and sometimes boring, but those with grit stick with it, understanding that improvement is incremental, not instantaneous. Chapter 8: Purpose or for the greater good. One's interest and skill develop. The most persistent individuals transcend self-interest and find purpose. They see their work as contributing to the well-being of others or the world. Duckworth distinguishes between jobs, careers, and callings. A gritty person's purpose is closely tied to the idea of calling. She shares stories of teachers, doctors, and engineers who weather setbacks not just because they love what they do, but because they believe it serves something greater. This sense of meaning provides fuel during tough times, making hardships seem worthwhile. For those struggling to find a purpose, Duckworth suggests small steps. Reflect on how your work helps others, and connect with mentors whose careers illustrate meaningful contribution. Chapter 9: Hope rising to the challenge again and again. Hope, in the context of grit, isn't passive wishing, it's the resilient, determined belief that effort can improve the future. In this chapter, Duckworth connects hope to the psychological concept of growth mindset developed by Carol Dweck. She demonstrates how gritty people interpret setbacks as temporary and solvable, not as permanent indictments of their abilities. Through stories and psychological research, Duckworth describes how a focus on improvement, what can I do next, fosters both resilience and motivation. Hope, then, is not just optimism. It's a practical strategy for bouncing back and persevering toward long-term goals. Chapter 10: Parenting for Grit. Here, Duckworth shifts her focus to practical advice. How can adults foster grit in children? She introduces the hard thing rule. Everyone in the family chooses a challenging activity, and no one is allowed to quit until a natural stopping point. Drawing from both research and personal experience, Duckworth elaborates onto essential parenting styles: supportive demanding, in which parents convey warmth and encouragement while setting high expectations. She interviews parents, coaches, and teachers who instill grit by modeling resilience themselves and by not rescuing children from every challenge. The message is clear: grit can be grown in a nurturing, structured environment that welcomes failure as a learning process. Chapter 11: The Playing Fields of Grit. This chapter explores the environments outside the home where grit is built. Duckworth points to extracurricular activities, sports teams, music ensembles, academic clubs, as playing fields where sustained effort and perseverance are cultivated. She presents data showing that participation in these activities, especially when students stick with them for multiple years, is linked to better outcomes in life, regardless of the activity itself. The communal nature of teams also creates peer support and accountability. Duckworth advocates for sticking it out through the boring or difficult parts, teaching young people to finish what they start. The grittiest people tend to have a history of sticking with hard things over time. Chapter 12: A Culture of Grit. Finally, Duckworth explores how group culture amplifies individual grit. She shows that when organizations, workplaces, and even nations value persistence and celebrate stories of overcoming adversity, individuals are more likely to develop grit themselves. In interviews with leaders and teams, she discusses the powerful influence of traditions, stories, and shared expectations. Culture becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. When grit is praised and reinforced by the group, it spreads. Duckworth advises individuals to seek out cultures that value resilience, and for leaders, to intentionally cultivate those norms and stories that fuel long-term passion and perseverance. Chapter 13. Conclusion. Angela Duckworth closes by reiterating her provocative thesis. Grit is the best predictor of success in school, in work, in life. It can be learned, fostered, and grown. Each step toward grit, building passion, practicing deliberately, seeking purpose, never losing hope, is a step toward a more fulfilled, resilient, and impactful life. Final takeaways. Grit is not reserved for the chosen few. It is a skill, a mindset, a way of living. By focusing on long-term passion and relentless perseverance, you equip yourself to weather setbacks and ultimately triumph, regardless of your starting point. Duckworth's message is as simple as it is revolutionary. When the going gets tough, keep going. That's the real secret to long-term success and deep personal fulfillment. Let this audiobook be your guide, your motivator, your roadmap. Everything worth doing is hard, but if you show up, if you fight through the boredom and the setbacks, and if you keep your eye on the highest purpose, then you, too, can harness the extraordinary power of grit.